With his main blueprint coming on the Lith B10 relic even, the Meso R5 having a hold of his systems blueprint, the Axie B5 relic, I do believe that has his neuroptics also as a rare, and the Neo A8 relic that has his chassis as an uncommon drop, meaning he is actually pretty simple to get a hold of. Last frame I did, I quite literally came in here when all the good frames seemed to be at the bottom. Well, we'd be wrong, wouldn't we even? Because Baruuk, with 175 armor and 100 shields, that's important in a moment, or 200 energy, nah, he's actually at the top. But for this purpose, we need to go all the way back down to the bottom and go, oh, his armor's 225 now with 125 shields. And he looks so much better. And for those who don't know how his ability works, because most people do, elude basically makes you elude bullets. They can kind of go through you until you attack. Once you start attacking or shooting, then you can be hit. But the rest of the time you're basically moving so quickly you can't be hit. Then there is lull that will quite literally put enemies to sleep, and then there is what is the, how would you pronounce that? Desolate Hands? Where these knives hunt out enemies' guns. Watch very carefully as the enemies' guns disappear. They don't take out enemies, they don't tend to... The damage is coming from the fact that the weapons that they once held exploded. Yeah, there's one right there, please. That one? No. That one? No, hit the gun. You're hitting everything apart from the gun. The reason I was doing it this way is because if you have elude active, which kind of just randomly stopped, mainly because, well, it runs over time. You'll notice the energy going down in the bottom right. But if you have Desolate Hands active, it doubles the range, and the weapons on the enemies that it hits explode. Luckily, enemies kind of have melee weapons in their hands, so even though their guns are now all gone, it's still working, because it's still attacking enemies. Oh, and it also passes on to allies, hence the reason the Kavat has one. Yeah. That, you're not seeing things, the Kavat also has it, which makes him great for disarming enemies, and as aforementioned, second ability of Lull puts them to sleep. Oh, and also this was the first time we kind of got to see the... I've completely forgotten the name of his, whatever it was, that thing on the floor with the golden rings to it that you can get as part of his prime access if you buy him with money, but... yeah, it puts them to sleep over time. Oh, that moved quite a bit there, but that's close enough. His last ability, Siren Storm, yeah, this is where he gets very, very, very useful, because now he is basically using his melee weapon. And it is quite a powerful little beast. I'm not really sure why it was doing such little damage. There it goes. I think I took my melee weapon off. But this thing can do a lot of damage. Usually when using this, it does a lot more than this. I'm really wondering what happened, because this thing was doing 30s of thousands of damage. I think it's just because I'm in here, because something is... it's definitely doing more than it was, but... I think it's got to do with the melee counter more than anything else, because, yeah, it was doing a lot more damage than this previously. But it can do weird things like making enemies close by, fly into the air. Be gone. Oh. See, that was 16,000. Why are you all over here? But we have to remember, Baruuk has been around for a while, and Everybody pretty much knows if you mix his first, second and third, have them on the go pretty much all the time. Well, his first and third should pretty much always be active. So Elude and Desolate Hands, first and third, on the go constantly, using the second when you get into trouble, and then basically if you have completely depleted his restraint. Once you deplete his restraint, activate it. Even if you don't need to, you activate it anyway. You can always deactivate it once it gets to about half full again, because then you still have some of it and you've used his ability. And to be fair, if you can mix these quick enough with the uppercut, launching them into the air, then do heavy attacks, maybe that's what I was doing wrong when he wasn't doing that much damage. I don't know why he wasn't doing any damage there, because as you can probably see, the fourth ability does quite a bit of damage. I guess it just depends who you go up against, or a broken something along the way, which I tend to do a lot for some stupid reason. But as long as you use Serene Storm as often as possible, I tend to try and use the bottom half of his restraint meter, and then when I need to use it in an emergency, I still have half of it left, but have Elude and Desolate Hands on constantly and get into trouble. Use Lull. Baruuk is one of those frames that is exactly what he was supposed to be. Good. The primed just made even better. But the best part that just has to come about Baruuk Prime is the passive. Obviously, every projectile dodged, an enemy lulled or disarmed erodes that restraint meter. But as the restraint meter goes down, he becomes more and more resistant to damage. I believe this caps out at about 50%. So he takes half the damage and has 50 more armor. Yeah, there's reasons I said he is much harder and harder to take out. And the primed version of him just worked so well. Shame I instantly took him off and went back to Frost, because Archon Hunts and being able to freeze and strip armor was just too tempting to actually use. Assuming at this point I've actually completed it, because whole other issue we're not getting into right now, so we'll leave this off here for now. Thanks for watching, I'll catch you next time.